Well, hello there, everyone. The time is currently around 2:58. I stayed up way too late watching two guys talk about Shrek video games, and then a guy talking about his weight loss journey using Wii Fit for 1 month straight. I didn't even finish the video. I did make it like halfway through though. And then I played about 20 minutes worth of Scratch Nutty Adventure before hitting the record button. So clearly I am really bad with time management right now. I guess another reason why I'm staying up so late is because I've conditioned my mind to just stay up when I have a day off the next day. I'm like, aha, I don't have to worry about being anywhere. I can use up my night however I like. And well, that is true, and I get to do whatever I want with whatever time I'm given. The problem is that without a consistent bedtime, I'm kind of messing up my circadian rhythm, which is important for optimal nervous system being, highly functional. And also, it's just nice to wake up early in the morning. I honestly don't think I've woken up at 7 or 8 in the morning in I'm trying to think 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe even longer than that. It feels like an early morning starting to become a myth to me nowadays, which sucks because I love early mornings, the cool crisp air, the noonday sun, just walking and enjoying the 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 fresh feeling of a new day. All that's kind of negated when you stay up so late and then you end up waking up so late because your body's trying to compensate for your lack of going to bed on time by sleeping well into the afternoon. It's ridiculous. Alright, with that long rant out of the way, I suppose we can move on to the daily update portion. And as you can see, I have a little co-host right here in the form of Autumn the Calico Cat. She's been enjoying hanging out in my bedroom for the past 4 days, I think. For some reason, she seems like she's very drawn to hanging out in my bedroom, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm not complaining. I love Autumn. Well, today I weighed 146.6 pounds. For whatever reason, I jumped up 0.4 pounds today. Yesterday I was 146.2, and the day before I was 145.6. So, I don't know, I guess it's maybe muscle retention of water or something. I'm not 100% sure. I remember I did ask Google Gemini, and Gemini said the most likely reason is just fluctuation based on your body retaining water over the course of the last 2 days. So, who knows, maybe tomorrow it'll finally start dropping. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I do know it's healthy to measure yourself only once every week. What I'm doing every day is a little on the unconventional side because your body is just constantly fluctuating, not just with your fat weight, but also your water weight and the food that you've eaten, weight, and all that. So, consistency really only becomes apparent with weight loss around if you measure yourself once every 3-4 days, maybe once every week. But if you do it every day, these weird fluctuations do seem to be on the discouraging and annoying side. But I do it anyways because I just like the idea of keeping track of how I'm doing. Alright, well, what was eaten today? I had a egg sandwich that was prepared by my mom. It used the keto seed bread, and it also had mayonnaise. It was really good. Other than that, I had a fat coffee, which included rise mushroom powder, one ground and freshly brewed cup of coffee with an espresso shot, a tablespoon of MCT oil, a tablespoon of butter, a little bit of half and half, a drop of vanilla extract, and 2 equals, and all mixed in a big Starbucks glass with a emulsifying blender. And I have to say, when I drank it, I was a little bit weirded out by the taste, but overall, oh, bless you. But overall, it was pretty good in terms of giving me satiation throughout the day, which apparently is what these fat coffees are supposed to do. Moving along, I decided to skip my lunch at work today. Major reason being I'm trying to save my money, and I didn't bring any food that I prepared from home to work, so I thought I'd just skip lunch. And the number one reason why is because I had a half-hour lunch instead of my normal full-hour lunch because I had a 3 to 11 shift today. When I arrived home, though, my sister prepared a tomato, beef, and shrimp soup, and I had that. I had onions and seasonings in it. It was really good. Kind of reminded me of those Campbell or chunky canned soups. Pretty good. I also had a bag of Quest chips and a Mr. Pibb's zero sugar, and for whatever reason I thought it was a great idea to drink a cup of coffee at 11 p.m. at night. I guess I just like the taste of coffee, but I really shouldn't be drinking that so late, otherwise I'm going to get into situations like this where it is now 3:06 in the morning. Yikes. Alrighty, well, I guess we can move along. Exercise, just walking at work, lifting some heavy things at work, and a little bit of infrequent jogging at work to get from spot to spot. That's about it. I actually checked my Samsung Health app and it said I lost around 664 calories solely from walking, so I guess that's cool. Pretty nice. Alright, well, we're done with the diet update. Now we can get on to the daily update. So I'm going to make this a lightning round because I need to take out the trash and I haven't taken my vitamins or brushed my teeth yet, which I really want to do before I go to bed. So let's do this really quick. So I remember waking up at around, I think it was 10 today, and when I woke up, I remember I was sleeping next to Autumn right there, and I woke up at 9, and when I woke up next to her, I decided to go use the restroom, and when I went back, I decided to continue sleeping all the way up until 10, where I decided to get up. My mom made egg sandwiches for me, her, and our family friend. She wanted me to watch a plumbing video with her because our sink was backed up, and we watched this plumbing video where this guy was getting a tool called a snake and sticking it into the bottom pipes of the drain, and basically drilled it around to get rid of any muck that was in there, so that way the drain could efficiently drain. we watched like 3 videos of that, like, and one of them was like a guy showing it step by step, and as he was doing it, my mom was like really intently watching, like, oh yeah, oh of course you need to do that, yes, yes, and that was pretty interesting. See how she was all into it. Sorry. And yeah, after that, um, I remember I decided to get out Sora on my phone, and I asked the video generation tool to generate a video of me as a plumber and anthropomorphized version of our cat Malcolm, our orange cat Malcolm, working on the plumbing in a sink and solving the problem. And it did generate that, and it's pretty goofy, not gonna lie. I showed my mom and her family friend, they thought it was funny. I also edited a picture of our family friend who was like in a black and red robe doing this, and I used Google's Gemini Nano Banana to add in electric lightning bolts, and then I posted in our chat where everyone thought it was pretty funny, or at least 2 of my sisters and my mom and our family friend thought it was really funny. I don't know if my eldest sister thought it was funny because she didn't comment, but she probably would. But yeah, after that, I remember I decided to get my notebook out and make a list of things I wanted to do before going to work today. Full body stretch, 1 minute or half an hour of walking, 20 minutes of Brain Jam Extra, 20 minutes of animation work, and then get ready for work and go to work, and also 20 minutes of line work. So after I was done doing that, I decided to make a fat coffee because I wanted to drink something that would help keep me satiated as I was working, since I would only have a half-hour lunch, and I didn't feel like, I don't know, bringing a lunch with me. I just wanted to drink the fat coffee, which I hope would keep me satiated throughout the day. And yeah, I was like doing a lot of research on like, ooh, is regular butter better or is grass-fed butter better for a grass-fed coffee? And my research suggested grass-fed is better because it's more nutriently dense. But the cool thing about butter and the MCT oil combined with the coffee is that the caffeine and the butter and the MCT oil kind of slow down the absorption of the caffeine. So your caffeine dosage is kind of equally level throughout the day instead of getting it all in one short burst and then immediately having a crash like afterwards. So I thought that was some good advice. I made the fat coffee and emulsified it with, of course, the equals, the half and half, the little bit drop of vanilla extract. I asked my mom if she wanted one. She said yes, so I made her one. And I emulsified that too. I remember she wanted me to only put about a teaspoon of Rye's mushroom powder in, but I ended up putting a tablespoon because the health benefits are a lot. And I wanted her to get the full benefits. She ended up drinking the whole thing. So that was good, but yeah, she said she did taste the mushroom bit. I did it with the best of intentions, but I guess I should have done it with less mushroom powder, as per request. But yeah. So yeah, after drinking my fat coffee, I decided to do 20 minutes of stretching. There was this guy I found on YouTube that I've followed before. I forget his name, but he did a really good job demonstrating how to stretch really good. And after my stretch, I just remember feeling really well stretched and just really comfortable and better. Then I did like 2 minutes worth of planks. And after my planks, I decided to do 20 minutes of Brain Jam Extra editing, where I was editing some footage in of like Calvin Hobbes dancing from a really cool animation I watched. Of course, before the video gets published, there will be credits due to the animator who made the video, and I will, of course, let him know that I am interested in using the footage and see if I could get permission before using it. But I'm adding it in temporarily just to see how it fits with the flow of the video, just to get an idea. I'm not publicly releasing it yet or anything. It's just a little thing I'm kind of measuring out as I'm doing. So yeah, and then I did a little bit of a storyboard / drawing work for another commenter called Original Character 3, which I had to time out the storyboard frames one after the other. And that went along really well. Afterwards, I did 20 minutes of like a little animation, or at this point in the game, it's more like an animatic work where I drew a sequence of drawings demonstrating character doing something to the beat of music that's playing that I put in the timeline. But there's one problem. And the problem is that when I was doing it, the workspace that I was using on OpenTunes, I accidentally discombobulated and disconnected the different workspaces from their window presets. And I tried to reconnect them all where they were, like how I was used to them. But no matter what I did, they just wouldn't connect back to where they went. So I had to reset the presets, and that meant I had to reset OpenTunes. And then when I opened it, like it was back to normal, but not really normal I wanted. So that was kind of annoying. But, you know, I was able to continue a bit more work before finishing off. Yeah. And, yeah, after that, I needed to skip out on my line work until later tonight after returning home from work. And then I got ready for work and I left. I said goodbye to my mom, sister, family friend, told them all I love them. And I drove off to work, where when I arrived, interesting thing was I was put on sweeps for the previous hour before I arrived at work. So I immediately let management know, so they knew that it was a mistake, and also that no one did sweeps for the previous hour from 1 to 2, or no, 2 to 3. Yeah, 2 to 3. From 3 to 4 I had a lot, and then for the next 3 hours I had front end work. At around 6:30 and then around the 2-hour mark I asked for my first break and I got it. So I spent it doing some breath work, which was very nice and relaxing. Then afterwards I returned. I did work up until 6:30, and the reason why instead of 7 like I did the previous 3 to 11 shifts was because I had sweeps starting at 7, and so I decided to do the 6:30 to 7, so that way I wouldn't miss out on punching on any of my sweeps and I'd do the sweeps. So I went on my lunch. I pretty much was going to do some breath work, but first I decided to go in Cartoon Brew to see if there was any news in the animation industry. Sadly, Roger Allers, the guy who directed The Lion King, had sadly passed away. I believe the article said on the 14th of January. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the article said he did pass away, which is very sad. He was a very influential storyteller that was able to create a really welcoming and connected environment in the Disney studio throughout the 90s. He seemed to have a lot of involvement throughout Disney's Renaissance age. Sadly, the last film he was working at Disney before he was let go was what was going to be Kingdom of the Sun, but turned into Emperor's New Groove. And I did watch the behind the scenes on that movie, and it was really interesting seeing that the behind the scenes. It was called a documentary that was called Sweatbox, which unusually for the studio showed a completely uncompromised and raw behind the scenes look at what it's really like making animated film at Disney back in those days and back in the late 90s. It's a really interesting documentary if you're a huge fan of filmmaking and animation and what the work culture may have been like back in those days. It was pretty interesting. But basically, all you need to know is that Roger Allers wanted to make a version of the Prince and the Pauper, but instead have it take place in a Polynesian setting and have a element of mysticism with Yzma trying to reclaim her youth. The bratty prince turning into llama, and then a guy who's just, a humble llama herder taking his place on the throne. The humble llama herder falling in love with a lady who is in the castle, and her falling in love with him. And it looks like it was going to be about like Yzma wanting to snuff out the light in a song that she sings. That's the name of the song. And claim the throne for herself, expose the impersonator of the prince, and frame him as like the murderer of the prince, and take control over the kingdom, and then I guess use like dark powers to make herself youthful or something like that. Like, that was the general idea of what the original story was going to be. But apparently during production, when it was seen by like everyone, the executives, they thought that the story just didn't have a really good hook to it. They thought the characters were a little on the uninteresting side, and the movie just didn't feel like it had a strong focus. And so ultimately, after spending 4 years working on the project, Roger Allers decided to split, and then the movie was taken over by a completely different creative team, which completely reworked the movie in record time into being the beloved comedy that people enjoy it for today, known as The Emperor's New Groove, about a bratty prince who gets transformed into a llama and gets sent all the way into a village with a family man who decides to only take him back to his kingdom if he's willing to change his mind about destroying his village. So, yeah, the plot significantly changed. The characters were altered, and a new character was added in the form of Krunk, which, in my opinion, was a big plus because Krunk is hilarious. But yeah, it ended up being reworked as probably Disney's funniest film, which is pretty cool. Even if, like, the original version seemed like it would have been a really interesting take on the Prince of the Pauper story and Polynesian culture and all that. It sucks that Roger Allers wasn't able to get the vision he wanted, but in the end, we did end up still getting a really funny and entertaining movie out of it, so it all worked out, I think. Then Roger Allers decided to take a complete career shift in. Before then, he did The Little Match Girl, a animated short that was planned on being in a sequel to Fantasia 2000 that was supposed to be released in 2005. But then, for whatever reason, the sequel was disbanded, but the short was finished and was released as a standalone short, which won a lot of awards and was praised for its great storytelling. And then he made a complete 180 shift with open season for some reason. Not exactly sure how you go from like acclaimed, fantastic animated like masterpiece like The Lion King and then a sincere and thoughtful story in the form of the match girl, and then you decide to do open season, which was basically a big budget version of something like Cow and Chicken. It's a really odd transition for the guy. I'm not exactly sure why he chose to pursue such a project. I guess, hey, they probably offered to him. He was strapped for work and he needed work, and he decided to accept the offer. I don't blame him. I probably would too if I was in his position. It's just strange because the movie's obviously just a clear diversion. It's just a madcap, goofy, cartoony comedy. But it's a little too silly, a little too goofy, especially compared to the more stories that he worked on previously, which felt like they had more gravity, more sincerity, more like heart to them. Not saying that open season didn't have any heart in it, but it did have some level of heart in it. But overall, it was clearly just a more, comedic film. And then he did this movie that I watched called The Prophet, where it was like a collection of different animators' work where they were adapting different stories of this really talented poet, and it was all made over the framework of like a girl meeting like this guy who is the writer and storyteller of these poems, who's sadly about to be, executed simply for writing what, from his imagination. And it was a really bold film. I did watch it, and I watched it on DVD, by the way. And it was just really emotionally powerful film. I remember deeply touched me and made me feel like really sad for the writer at the end. And the artistry and the bold storytelling was just on a whole nother level with that movie. It was just incredible. And I think that was like his last major project he worked on. Apparently, in the Cartoon Brew article, it said he had some involvement in various other animated projects. It didn't really specify to what capacity, though. I think it said story involvement in like completely hodgepodge different stories, but I don't know. I don't exactly remember what they were and what his involvement was and to what capacity. But his last major project was The Prophet, which I think was released in 2014. And he kept on being involved in the animation industry well past his retirement age. And apparently he died this year in January, which, and throughout the article, it shows different animators throughout the Disney Renaissance age who worked with him, giving out their regards and love and best wishes to his family in this difficult time, of course, which I do the same, because he clearly was a really talented guy who had a clear understanding of great storytelling. It's a shame that he's no longer with us. We lost a great voice this month. After reading that article, I did do some breath work, and when I did that breath work, it felt pretty nice. I think it was Breath with Sandy Entered the Ninth Dimension is what it was called. It was very deep and relaxing. Then finally, I returned back to punching for work, and then I did sweeps. I took out trash. I refilled check stands with bags. I got a little help from one of my coworkers for that. I also wiped down check stands 3 and 4, and I helped clear a lot at the end and close the produce blinds and refilled the cleaners, and that's pretty much what I did. There was some fun that was had at the end of the day in terms of one of my coworkers showing off a pair of glasses before they were about to leave. They were like these Ray-Ban glasses with like a camera in the middle, and they looked really cool. Like, I totally dug the way they looked. And the cool thing was like you could like record through the glasses and then like, you know, have them show up on your phone and see what they look like. And yeah, it looks pretty sick, not gonna lie. I dug it. And yeah, I said goodbye to my boss, or my co-boss. I drove home. When I arrived home, I decided to have the soup that my sister made with the Quest chips and the Mr. Pibbs, and then a cup of coffee. And I was just doing that. I was watching the Digital Foundry Direct that was released today, which was interesting. It was like about how the RAM situation is worsened to the point where apparently 5070 GPUs are really difficult to come by now due to the shortage of available RAM. I let my sister know about it. Then that reminded us of like there was an old Minecraft video from Minecon where like there was a kid who said, "I need dedicated WAM." So we found the video and we both thought it was pretty funny and delightfully awkward. Then after that, I watched these guys that I started watching like a few months ago talk about the Shrek video games, continue talking about them and their opinions on that. And then I watched a guy try to lose his weight using Wii Fit, and then I was like, oh, it's like super late. I should probably make my update video. So here's my update video. Yeah, so overall, I would say that today was a pretty packed day. There was a lot done. Oh, I completely forgot to mention, as I was listening to the Digital Foundry Direct, I did my line work. So I didn't skip leg day on line work, thankfully. And here's what I drew. If you can't tell, that's my bedroom with the window and the alien and the jar full of coins, and that's a cup, and that's a candle, and yeah, just all this stuff hanging around my bed right now. So yeah, proof that I haven't skipped drawing day. All right, well, you know, after I'm done recording this, I'm gonna publish this. I'm gonna take my vitamins. I'm gonna brush my teeth. I'm gonna take out the trash. And then I will go to bed. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Or I guess technically that's today, assuming I don't record late into the night like I am right now. Alright, well, goodbye and take care.